Good evening, friends. I hope I am audible. So, welcome to daily answer writing session. In this answer writing session, I pick the most important editorial of the day and I link it to the syllabus of the UPSC Mains examination. And first, I analyze the editorial and I help you understand how questions are framed from editorial, both how to study the editorial from the prelims point of view and from the mains point of view. I will also help you how to make notes from editorial, and then live I will try to frame a question and I'm going to do a live answer writing for you. So I hope I'm very clear. So let us begin this answer writing session. So today I have selected one editorial from the Hindu. Today I have selected one editorial from the Hindu. Okay. So this editorial is about livestock. This editorial is about livestock. Okay. And we all know that in GS paper 3, in the economy section, there is a topic called economics of animal rearing. And this is a very important topic. Every other year, we find a question coming from this topic. Okay. So we will try to read this editorial. We'll try to analyze this editorial. And from this editorial, I will help you learn the art and skill, both of how to read editorial, how to know what is important for exam point of view, and how while reading editorial, prepare for the main syllabus. So if we read this editorial, we will come to the conclusion that this editorial is very narrow in scope. This editorial is very narrow in scope. This editorial is basically talking about veterinary services in the livestock sector. This editorial basically is talking about a scheme of the government of India, which is a central sector scheme. The scheme name is basically the Livestock Health and Disease Control Scheme, which basically has come out with mobile veterinary units in order to solve the biggest problem in the livestock sector, and that problem is livestock diseases, the health of the livestock. See, every year the livestock sector incurs huge losses because of these diseases, and this new scheme would basically help to curb this problem. And then it goes on to talk about how this mobile veterinary unit is going to help the farmers. So we'll try to analyze what is important from the prelims point of view, what is important from the mains point of view. But the editorial is very narrow. So I will today help you analyze if such editorials, how to get the maximum and how to connect with the syllabus, because nowhere in exam they are going to ask you about veterinary services. Nowhere in exam. It is just one point of a bigger topic, which is basically the livestock farming. Okay. So we'll see that what is important in this editorial. We'll try to analyze. So this every editorial, what you need to do is you need to note down the facts. Although in the daily practice sheet every day I collect all the important facts from the mains point of view and I publish in the daily practice sheet. Today also I have published this fact. So according to the editorial, okay, it says that India has the largest livestock population in the world, which is somewhere around 537 million. So there is a prelims question, prelims fact is India is having the largest livestock population in the world. Okay. And one more interesting fact is mentioned is that 95% of this livestock basically is there in the rural sector. This is very important fact. When I'll frame a question, when I'm going to frame a question today, because there is another topic, I'll help you to interlink two topics. How to interlink two topics I will discuss when I will discuss inclusive growth and livestock. So this is an interesting point here, that 95% of the livestock is concentrated in the rural area. Very interesting. Note it down. Okay. So it says that livestock sector in India, there is a problem of basically productivity. There is a problem of productivity. Indian livestock productivity is very low compared to the world average. So it's another challenge, another interesting fact we have got from this. So the article goes on to say that revised provision in the livestock and disease control program, where the focus should be on strengthening the veterinary infrastructure. Strengthening the veterinary infrastructure. This is basically what it's saying, that come out with a mobile veterinary unit which will help in door-to-door delivery of these veterinary services. Veterinary services, that is the door-to-door delivery it talks about. Doorstep delivery model, this editorial talks about. Then this editorial also points out two important committees. That is what the Parliamentary Committee on the Union Ministry of Fishery, Animal Husbandry and Dairying. The observation of this committee is that the biggest challenge faced by this livestock sector is that there is no adequate veterinary services. There is no adequate veterinary services, and this is the biggest challenge, because these days what we are seeing, there is rise in zoonotic diseases. Zoonotic diseases. See, in the COVID crisis, you must have already come across this word called zoonotic diseases. Disease which affect animals, and from animals it can spread to even humans. Zoonotic diseases. Okay. Then there is also another important issue which is highlighted by this editorial, and this is the issue of antibiotic resistance. See, antimicrobial resistance or antibiotic resistance is becoming one of the biggest health challenge which will face humanity in the coming decades. And this is not just for human population. This antimicrobial resistance is also now spreading in animals. And the biggest reason the article talks about, what is the biggest reason of this spread of antimicrobial resistance among the livestock, is that misuse of antibiotics, increased doses of antibiotics, irrational use of antibiotics, unscientific use of antibiotics in the livestock sector. And many a times antibiotic resistance from the livestock sector is transferred to the human population, So this problem of antimicrobial resistance or antibiotic resistance in the animal population or in the livestock population is one of the biggest threat posing humanity. So there is a urgent need to basically check this antimicrobial resistance. And the editorial goes on to list out WHO's priority pathogens, 12 family of 12 pathogens, which are called the priority pathogens, which are responsible for this increasing antibiotic resistance. So there is a prelims question can be framed in this. Prelims question can be framed on this. This has been highlighted in the daily prelims notes today. Daily prelims notes, what I have done is I've highlighted this 12 pathogen, and I've also highlighted this scheme of the government. Further, the editorial talks about MK Jain committee. MK Jain committee has gone into the issue of lack of credit faced by these farmers who are into this livestock rearing. They face the problem of lack of access to credit and finance, and without investment, we all know that productivity is not going to increase. So access to credit is one of the biggest challenge. And then it talks about the number of veterinary hospitals in India. So it says that only 66,000 veterinary population hospitals are there. And we all know, see, the number 537 million livestock population. For that, just a small number of veterinary services, just imagine. And this then editorial talks about lot of diseases which are very prevalent in India, livestock diseases. So there's a list of name of livestock diseases. You can, a prelims question can be framed on this livestock disease also. Foot and mouth disease. Foot and mouth disease is one of that disease. Okay. Therefore, this editorial talks about a vision of one health vision of WHO, one health vision of WHO, which includes human health, which includes animal health, and also includes environment health. Human health, animal health, and environment health. And then the article talks about the kind of losses which the livestock sector in India is incurring because of these animal diseases. Because of these livestock diseases, the livestock sector is suffering from a lot of huge losses. And it has said that there are around loss is 10 liters per day. For a farmer, 10 liters per day milk loss is there in the dairy sector. It has given one data here. So this data can be used in answer writing. I'll show how answer writing data can be used. Overall, the editorial ends here that this veterinary services can also increase in creation of new jobs in the rural area. We all know that job crisis India is facing, particularly in the rural areas. So this can create non-farm jobs in the rural area. So this is the editorial all about. So obviously, okay, there is a no question can be framed on this narrow editorial. The editorial is very narrow, but it has a lot important points from the exam point of view, which you can use in a question which can be framed from my livestock sector. So what I have done for you, I have framed a question. I have framed a question from today's DPS. I'll just read out the question to you. Okay, I'll just read out the question to you. I'll just show you the question. Okay. 1 second. So let us read the question of the day. The question of the day is: the livestock sector has emerged as a vital source of inclusive and sustainable agriculture system. Inclusive and sustainable agriculture system. Discuss the challenges faced by the livestock sector. So this is the question today, which we are going to discuss. I will also discuss the other questions briefly. If you want, I can do that, but let us first try to answer this question. So I hope everyone has gone through the DPS question. Now let me try to answer this question for you. Let us do a live answer writing session. Let us take a live answer writing session. So first of all, what the question says, question makes a statement. What is that statement? That livestock sector is important or vital link for inclusive growth and sustainable growth. Inclusive growth and sustainable. This is a very important point. Okay. And then the second part of the question says that what are the challenges faced by the livestock sector. Okay. So what we have to do, we have to try to link the livestock sector to inclusive growth. Okay. So briefly, I'll just tell you what is inclusive growth. Inclusive growth is a growth which is broad-based growth. Inclusive growth is a growth where every section of the society can participate. And there are some 7 features or 6 features of inclusive growth, which let me just list out to you so that you will be able to write a very good answer. So inclusive growth, what are the features? First feature is what? It must be what? It must be employment generating. The growth must be employment generative, then only it can be called inclusive growth. Second, it must include the rural areas. Third, it must reduce poverty. Okay. Next, it must include women. Second, next, it must include the marginal sections of the society like scheduled tribes, scheduled caste, minorities. Next, it must be what? It must be environmentally sustainable. It must be environmentally sustainable. It must also be regionally diverse. Regionally diverse means it must be in rural areas, it must be in backward states. Okay, so these are the features of inclusive growth. So what we will do, we'll try to link all these features to this livestock sector. We can start with the answer. Let me now start the answer. Let me now start the answer. Okay, if I may start the answering. Okay, live answering. I'll take just 7 minutes, and I'll just take 7 minutes, and I will try to answer this question for you. Let me just take a fresh page and try to answer this question. So what I'll write, I start with an introduction to livestock sector. That livestock sector, okay, livestock sector is responsible for okay, 30% of agri GDP. 30% of agri GDP. Okay, GDP. Okay, this is very important fact. I start with a fact. Then I go on to say that livestock sector is vital for inclusive growth and sustainable growth. And then I make a heading and I start writing in points. First of all, according to some estimates, livestock sector is responsible for what? 8 crore jobs, 8 crore livelihood, 8 crore livelihood, and at least 2/3 people in the rural areas are engaged in livestock. Okay, first point. Okay, livelihood point is done. Livelihood point is done. So you can make a subheading livelihood. You can make a subheading here. Okay, you can make a subheading here, and you can write livelihood. My friends, you can write here livelihood. First point is livelihood. Okay, and you can give some fact. This heading you have made. Second point, you will write income security. So livestock sector acts as an income security for many poor farmers. Okay, third point, you will write that most of this livestock sector is basically only small and marginal farmers. 80% of the people who are engaged in livestock sector are small and marginal farmers. Okay, next what you can write is that generally 80 to 90% of people working in livestock sector are women. Next, what you will write, livestock sector, like the data in the, now I'll use data in the editorial, that 95% of livestock is in rural areas only. So we all know that in rural area, inclusive growth, rural areas are very important. So we'll write that. So, and then we'll write that livestock sector is responsible for what? Poverty alleviation. We have seen what it has done in Gujarat. We can give Gujarat example. And last but not least, we can write how livestock sector is important for sustainable growth, for sustainable development. We can talk about. So we have talked about livelihood. We have talked about income security. We have talked about small and marginal farmers. We have talked about women. We have talked about rural people. We have talked about scheduled tribe and scheduled caste. We see that most of the people who are engaged are from these sections and minority sections only. So it has huge significance for inclusive growth. Okay, now I'll make another subheading. I'll make challenges. I'll write challenges, and I will write the first point, first challenge. What is the first challenge in livestock sector? The first challenge, my friend, is feed and fodder. Okay, that is the biggest challenge. Here I'll write another fact that India has just 2% or 3% of the entire world pasture land. So although the population, India has the largest livestock population, but the pasture land is very limited. So feed and fodder becomes a big challenge, sir. Second point, what I'm going to write is that the breed, okay, the quality of the livestock in India is not great. Okay, it's not great. The yield is 1/3 third of the global standard. Okay, the breed is not good, the yield is not good. Yield is not good. You can talk about yield of milk. There is a data which says that average milk per lactation in India is around 1200 kg, whereas in some developed world in Israel it is around 10,000 kg. 10,000 kg. So this you can talk about some data you can give here. India versus the world. India versus the world. Okay. Then obviously this article has talked about livestock health or livestock diseases. That is a big challenge. Okay, that is a big challenge. Then this editorial has also talked about antimicrobial resistance. You can talk about that. Then you can talk about next challenge is basically the challenge of technology gap. The challenge of technology gap. This challenge you can write anywhere. You can write any challenge. You can write technology problem. Then you can write the challenge of basically lack of skilled manpower. Lack of skilled manpower. This also you can write anywhere. Next, what challenge you can write is challenge of climate change. See, livestock sector is also responsible for climate change, and climate change impacts this livestock sector a lot. So you can talk about climate change. Then you can talk about lack of value addition in livestock sector. There's lack of value addition. Okay, like only few farmers are into this value addition. Most of the farmers are not basically into this value addition. So value addition is a big problem. Then if you see sanitation is a big problem. Sanitation is a big problem. Then next, what you can do, marketing and infrastructure is a big problem. Infrastructure is a big problem. Okay, you can write these things a big problem. So around 11, I have given you 11 challenges of the livestock sector. If you do not know these challenges, what you can do is, I recommend you strongly to read Mains Master Notes. Mains Master Notes. In Mains Master Notes, I have given excellent quality static content on each and every topic. And when you read the Mains Master Notes, when you come across these editorials, you can take the points from the editorial and you can upgrade that Mains Master Note. Every year I upgrade the Mains Master Notes. Okay. So I have mentioned in the Mains Master Note, if you can read the Mains Master Note, I have mentioned 13 challenges in the livestock sector. Nowhere in the country you'll find these unique 13 challenges. If you can write all these 13 challenges, the examiner will give you 11 out of 10. Not 10 out of 10, he'll give you 11 out of 10. Okay. So next, what you cannot end there. What you can do this, you will write the way forward or suggestion. Okay. Then for every challenge, you will write one solution. For every challenge, like feed and fodder. So we have to do what? We have to conserve the pasture lands. Okay. Then we have to this animal health. This only editorial I have talked about the scheme. This editorial has talked about the scheme. So animal health, we can do for animal health. Mobile veterinary units, this editorial has talked about. Okay. Third, what we can do is that we can infuse technology. Okay. Then we can go for some artificial insemination for improving the breed. Okay. And for conserving the indigenous breed, we have the Rashtriya Gokul mission. Okay. That we can do. Then we can go for skilling of farmers. Okay. You can go for skilling of farmers. Then what all we can do? We can go for value addition. We can go for infrastructure. We can go for marketing. Okay. So a lot of things we can write here. Here it is very important for you to mention the National Livestock Policy 2013. Please mention the National Livestock Policy, and also mention the National Livestock Mission. And you can mention other schemes of the government also, like last Gokul mission and other schemes also. But these two, policy and mission, is very important for you to mention. National Livestock Policy 2013 and National Livestock Mission is very important for you to mention. Overall, in the end, you have to be very last sentence. Conclusion has to be very broader. See how to write a good conclusion. It's very important. Many of the candidates, they get less marks in the UPSC because they are unable to write a very good conclusion. Okay, conclusion is like tata bye bye and getting marks from the examiner. So you have to do in a fashion, you have to do in a style. So let me just teach you how to write conclusion in style. Okay, so what you have to do is, my friends, you have to write to a bigger issue. Always conclusion has to be a bigger, larger in scope. So you can write that livestock sector can help in diversification. This is a question, this has come this year. Diversification of agriculture, diversification of agriculture, diversification. This question has come this year. Diversification of crop has come. This year, the UPSC has asked diversification of crop. But I am adding a bigger concept, diversification of agriculture itself. Diversification of agriculture and can help in doubling farmers' income. Just see, doubling farmers' income. Just see, doubling farmers. So I have added two important objective of Government of India with the livestock sector. So I hope you have really liked this answer writing session. Every day I'm going to do this. If you want me to discuss other DPS questions also, I would love to do that. I would love to hear from you. Anyone has any other problem in answer writing, you are free to reach me. My mission, my goal is to help each and every aspirant, to empower him so that he can write great answers and he is empowered enough to prepare for the main syllabus. You can make use of the mains master notes also, but at the same time you have to read the editorials and you have to pick the points from there and you have to write in a manner that really impresses the examiner. So I hope that these sessions were useful. Please give a comment in the comment box and subscribe to the channel, share with your friends. This is a free answer initiative. Daily we will be meeting and I am going to add a lot of value which I don't know if this value has been